Ride all the rides as often as you like. One admission price includes all rides and entertainment.
The amusement park has not been open a full season now for years, but all that is about to change.
Ghost Town in the Sky opens tomorrow.
Every minute is action-packed as you experience the excitement of the Old West. Ghost Town offers a day of fun and thrills for the entire family.
A mountain amusement park that planned to open this month is now staying closed.
All the shows, ride all the rides for one admission price.
Well, the weather today was perfect for the reopening of a mountain amusement park.
Railroad or take the chairlift to fabulous Ghost Town and the Mile High Fun Park.
It may be closed for the winter and parts of it put up for sale for a short time, but Ghost Town in the Sky is showing hints of new life.
Get set for the greatest in family entertainment. Hurry to Ghost Town in Maggie Valley, North Carolina, where the fun never stops.
Ghost Town in the Sky, or Ghost Town Village as it was rebranded, was a Wild West theme park located in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. While many Wild West theme parks have existed throughout the years, this park had a unique feature. It was located on top of a mountain and sat 4,600 feet, around a mile high, on Buck Mountain. The park was the idea of R.B. Coburn, a Covington, Virginia native who moved to Maggie Valley. He ran several successful businesses in Tennessee, and after visiting many different real-life ghost towns in Western America, he came up with the idea to create one himself. The park was designed by Russell Pearson and constructed for around $1 million in 1960. Construction began in September 1960, and multiple bulldozers made their way to the top of the mountain to shave off 45 feet of dirt and rock at the top. In fact, thousands of yards of dirt and rock were moved, becoming the foundations for the park. The buildings began construction in mid-November, and by May there were more than 40 life-size replicas. The grass seed alone cost $3,000 in 1960, which would be around $25,000 today. The only way to access the park on opening was via an incline funicular railway travelling up the mountain, though a shuttle bus was available to people who required it as well as staff. Construction of the incline railway was a feat by itself. Bulldozers carved out around a 3,300 foot clearing up the side of the mountain. The railway featured two cars, each able to hold 48 passengers connected to cables and motors to drag them up the mountain. The incline railway was actually the first US double incline railway, as well as the steepest, raising nearly 1,200 feet. The park itself opened on May 1st, 1961, and quickly became one of North Carolina's most popular tourist attractions. Pearson and Coburn would go on to open two other theme parks together over the years, Frontierland in Cherokee, North Carolina, as well as Six Gun Territory in Florida. Throughout its lifetime, the park was actually really popular, and at one point 620,000 guests visited Ghost Town each year. And some earlier days had more than 10,000 guests in the park at the same time. The park also provided a huge boost for the economy of Maggie Valley. As many as 75 to 100 local staff were hired to operate the park. The stores in the park were actually leased as well to local businesses. The later years of the park's life, though, were anything but successful, and some even called it cursed. During the winter of 1962, the famous double chairlift began construction. The chairlift provided an exciting and unique way to reach the park and was able to transport 900 passengers per hour. The lift travelled 3,370 feet up the mountain at a speed of 3.5 miles per hour and cost $150,000 to build in 1962. These days that would be over $1.2 million. The entrance of the park featured the large Ghost Town sign along with the ticket office, store and restaurant before you took the climb up to the park. The park is split into different towns, on different elevations of the mountain, each featuring a different theme. These include the Indian Village, Mountain Town, and Mining Town. The heart and most popular section of the park was a recreation of an Old West town, complete with saloons, a schoolhouse, bank, jail, and a church which actually featured services on Sunday mornings. So really this ghost town wasn't actually a ghost town at all. Not yet anyway. One of the highlights of the park, and perhaps the most fondly remembered, were the gunfights that were staged in the street here throughout the day every 40 minutes for guests to enjoy. The Silver Dollar Saloon featured hourly shows of can-can dancers, while the Red Dog Saloon featured live country and bluegrass music performances throughout the day. The Indian Village section of the park also featured shows about Indian life and Old West days. Mining Town had areas where you could pan for gold and silver and again features some smaller shows. Mountain Town had a show about the life in the Smoky Mountains. During the 1970s, the park was averaging around 400,000 visitors before it began to decline. The park was actually sold under a stock swap with the National Forest. R.B. Coburn bought the park back though in 1986 and he added its first roller coaster. Originally called the Red Devil, opening in 1988, the coaster is quite unique in that rather than boarding the train and heading up a lift hill, its boarding section is at the top of the hill. And once the ride rolls out of the station, you are sent down a steep drop at a 90-degree curve and into its one inverted loop. The ride's track extends over the edge of the mountain, really adding to the thrilling aspect of the ride with beautiful views as well. The other roller coaster, which opened in 1992, was a small children's coaster called Tumbleweed, originally called the Little Devil. Above the ghost town was a section of the park with a variety of amusement rides and the mountaintop music hall and Indian dance hall. The park remained relatively the same throughout its lifetime. Around the time of the new millennium, the park had a decline in attendance and plagued with multiple maintenance issues, with rides breaking down constantly or staying closed, and the attendance continued to decline due to the bad word of mouth. It didn't help that the interest in the Wild West in the US was declining also throughout the 80s. During a hot summer day in 2002, the chairlift actually malfunctioned, leaving riders stranded for more than 2 hours. Coburn had already been spending thousands of dollars maintaining the chairlift and the incline railway. A few days after this incident, the park's owner closed the park fully and put it up for sale. From then on out, the park has had nothing but issues. The park remained closed in 2003 after a successful 41 years of operation. The park remained closed and unmaintained until the park was sold in August 2006. And after $38 million was spent on repairs and renovations, it actually reopened its doors with everything running except the incline railway, the train, and the monster in 2007. The reopening of the park was scheduled to coincide with the motion picture Dean Teaster's Ghost Town, which was filmed in the western town within the park.
Every town has a story. Ghost Town has a legend.
Kill all you can.
In 2007, the addition of Heritage Town Square was added at the end of the chairlift and incline railway. The area featured a museum showing the history of Ghost Town, a restaurant, Geronimo Drop, which was relocated from Libertyland in Tennessee, the casino, and the cliffhanger. 2009 also saw a haunted house attraction open during the Halloween season called the House of Terror. By 2009 though, the park had filed for bankruptcy, stating the usual reason of the economy and gas pricing being the issue, after spending an additional $11 million. 6 of that was on the cliffhanger roller coaster alone. The park was still scheduled to open in May. The park claimed it needed a substantial loan to continue running and nobody wanted to offer it. The park asked the town for money, but it was also rejected. The failure to receive the loan would mean the loss of almost 200 jobs. An anonymous investor provided the money according to the park president, and the park opened as planned, except for the rides which had not yet been inspected. The park closed, struggling in 2009 after reports it was unable to pay its employees. The owners of Ghost Town were unable to pay for its liability insurance also, and it was cancelled. This happened just before a large mudslide on February 5, 2010.
Emergency responders were called to the scene of a mudslide on Rich Cove Road. That's off of Highway 19.
The mudslide happened when the retaining walls failed. Luckily, nobody was injured, but around 40 homes were evacuated and 3 were damaged. The main access road, Rich Cove Road, was buried under the mud. Rumours suggested that the owners had even known as far as a year in advance that the retaining walls were unstable. While the park's president said it would reopen for the 2010 season, it did not. While it did receive federal funding to clear up the access road. Ghost Town fell under foreclosure proceedings and remained closed for the next 3 years. Now steps in Alaska Presley.
Ghost Town owner Alaska Presley may be well into retirement years, but she's hard at work getting the Maggie Valley amusement park ready to open.
We'll definitely be open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
She'll see how business goes before considering opening all week, a cautionary position after reopening the park last summer for the first time in years to a series of problems ranging from water issues, vandalism, and not passing safety inspections.
A Maggie Valley resident and an investor in Ghost Town during the 1960s, who bought the park out of bankruptcy in 2012 as the sole bidder at auction at the age of 88 and hoped to save the park. She managed to open the park in a limited capacity from 2012 to 2014 and had plans to turn it into an Appalachian village. The theme of Ghost Town never really fit in with the surrounding area, and it would be a more fitting theme generally. In 2012, the chairlift entrance was reopened and people were able to take tours to see what was planned for the future. The 2013 season opened again with a limited capacity. During the 4 years the park was idle and without any security, the property was subject to vandalism and theft.
The turnout, I'm appreciated, and it's so nice, and I'm so happy to see them. I hope that I can make them happy.
A change in laws also meant the park required millions of dollars to be spent to pass inspections and be up to code. The current wells were not able to pass inspection, and 4 new wells had to be drilled, and all of them were failures except one. The park struggled to get water to it on top of the mountain and was unable to open again. The option of city water was decided, and virtually every piece of the old system had to be replaced.
I've been 3 years trying to get city water up there.
The pipes at one point bursting. No water means no chance to open.
As of yesterday, they're still up on the mountain trying to glue pipes together.
After all these failures of the park, the lower section, which housed the western theme park, was placed up for sale with an asking price of $3 million to try and attract investors for the upper section of the park. Alaska Presley's idea was to change the upper portion into a Holy Land replica theme park called the Resurrection Mountain, and would feature a large cross on top of the mountain, which even had contractors in to prepare and plan for its construction.
Locate the property lines and establish a piece of property that she's going to dedicate to the cross.
2015, the property was again taken off the market after the major progress on the redevelopment of the other parts of the property, including a rebrand from Ghost Town in the Sky to Ghost Town Village, with a planned reopening date of June 1st, 2016. The rebranded park was again to feature gunfights, the chairlift, gift shops, a museum showing the history of the park, and more. The park, however, was unable to open its former roller coasters and rides as the costs were too high. This idea, though, didn't last long, and the park was announced in June 2016 not to be opening for the year after the failure to get enough water to the park, even after the shops inside were already leased. The whole park this time was put up for sale, and the listing still exists today while the park sits abandoned on top of its mountain. Many people look back with fond memories of the park, and it ran on nostalgia for many years, with guests who had visited in the past wanting their kids to get that same experience. Will this park cling on and reopen again? Looking at the current state of the place, unfortunately, I highly doubt it. At least not in its current form. The park was a fun experience to visit and a unique place that cannot be found in many locations around the world. Unfortunately now, this park sits abandoned as a real-life ghost town in the sky. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to join us on our future tours on Expedition Extinct. If you have visited this once popular park, let us know your experiences in the comments below, as well as your suggestions on places you would like to go on this series. Be sure to follow us on Twitter if you would like to see updates on what is coming in the future. Again, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.